So I deal with a lot of professionals, royalties, chairman of an English Premier League, public servants who are your ministers. There are people who take you on their yacht to their island that they have just bought. This lady was invited to a safari in Kenya.
Wow!
That's so fun.
Nice safari.
The skill that every couple must have is the ability to...
Wow.
Want to help shape Singapore's future from the comfort of your sofa? Here's one simple yet powerful way you can make a difference right now.
So to commemorate SG60, our national giving program, Share by Community Chest, has been given a makeover and is now called SG Share. And it's simply about Singaporeans helping Singaporeans.
That's right, SG Share reflects who we are at heart. Generous, compassionate, and resilient. It powers many critical social service programs and it gives communities in need a real shot at pursuing their dreams.
And this is the best part, 100% of all proceeds go directly to empowering communities in need. Plus, since 1st January 2025, every donation you make to SG Share through Community Chest gets matched by the government dollar for dollar by up to $250 million under the SG Gives matching grant.
That means every dollar you give is multiplied.
And you can join in by setting up a small monthly donation to provide a sustainable support or a one-time contribution this SG60.
That's right. When all of us give together, the impact is greatly amplified. No matter the amount, your contribution helps build a more caring, inclusive society where everyone has a chance to fulfill their aspirations.
So if you want to make a small but lasting impact,
scan the QR code and donate through SG Share today or visit giving.sg/SG60Share.
Back to the episode.
Okay, so our guest today has helped millionaires find soulmates and told more than a few of them that they're not ready for love. She's a veteran CNN news presenter, a bold entrepreneur, and known as one of Asia's top matchmakers. With a dating black book full of CEOs and high flyers, she's seen the emotional mess behind the money. Please welcome Anisa Hassan. Today's gonna be fun. Yeah, that's right on this episode. We'll have a few of those coming up. High net worth individuals. Why the focus on this particular group?
Because love doesn't get easier for the successful.
Okay, that goes against the pace of everything we discussed.
When we were discussing yesterday, my theory was that, okay, if two not so rich people come together, a bit difficult because there'll be money problems. One rich, one not so rich, money problems, resentment, contempt. But if two financially independent, rich individuals come together, I would imagine that, like, sorted, you know, like they can just focus on the love.
Not necessarily, even though that's what we always want to imagine it to be, right? Like money solves everything. But what we're talking about is the emotions, and that's something that money can buy, right? How you have grown up, how you have been conditioned, right? And maybe you saw your parents who are both possibly very high net worth individuals, but struggling, expressing themselves, you know, second guessing, doubting the other person, doing all sorts of things that take away a person's dignity, right? So it's always behind the scene. It's always the emotions that we have to unpack together. So regardless whether they are high net worth CEOs, managing directors, they all have feelings. And that's what I deal with behind the scenes. I don't just deal with high net worth individuals, even though that's a very exciting demographic to focus on, right? So I deal with a lot of professionals, people who have a job, right? So we're not dealing with...
You got hope.
They've been attempts have been made to see whether arrangements can be made.
So Raja's the only one who isn't in a long-term relationship at the moment.
God damn,
okay.
I air my shit out like that.
Absolutely. So that's when we can talk further, delve deeper, right? And understand why is it, you know, that you feel that it's unsafe for you to be in a relationship.
No. There's nothing to do with that. Very safe.
That's right. Or he has not found the right one yet.
Yeah,
right?
free agent.
So, free agent. That's a nice way of putting it. I have had experiences dealing with even royalties, right? And public servants who are your ministers in the past, managing directors, CEOs, millionaires, people who, okay, this is very interesting, chairman of an English Premier League. Yes. So he has flown me to meet him and understand his requirements, his needs. And so those are very interesting personalities or profiles. But of course, the one thing that I have to assure them at every step of the way is privacy and confidentiality.
For sure. Did he know you before? Like, are you friends? That's why he fly you over?
No, I think the reason why people reach to me privately is because I have been a referral to them, right? So they speak privately. They have a very small inner circle. They want to ensure that they're not vulnerable. High level, high net worth people always want to protect themselves. They don't want vulnerability to come across, right? So they don't want to tell the whole world that they are in the meat market. Looking meat, MEET or MEAT is up to you.
What you're looking for, what your needs are.
I've been in the business for more than 20 years, right? So words do get around, and then especially when I also go to weddings, and the bride and groom are always very gracious and very grateful that I have put them together. So they always put a spotlight on me or say something nice to me, and that's when I get a whole lot of people coming to me at the wedding, which I said, no, the focus should not be on me; it should be on the bride and groom.
So when there's a successful marriage, they always invite you.
Of course. That's a highlight of my business. And I try not to, miss out on such milestone moments, because I think it's very important that I was working behind the scene and then now I'm there. It's such a blessing to be in front of these two individuals whom I have put together.
Wow, you're such a proud mama.
Oh yes, so many. I'm just waiting for somebody to name that child after me.
So there's still time.
What is the main reason why they seek out like a matchmaking service?
For the professionals, it's always about either they have just gotten out of a relationship and they feel that sense of loneliness. And it can be very, very debilitating for some people who have been in a relationship for a very long time. Because the people I serve are not just for, the first love. They're not meeting people for the first time or they're not into their first marriage. I think almost 50, if not 60% of my clients now are people who have been married before. They're divorced. Yeah. And the demographics, they start from about 35 and they go all the way to about 70 plus.
70 plus.
Does your service matchmake two clients, or might it be a client and someone else? That's not.
No, generally I match clients with clients, right?
Okay.
But one of the services that I offer is also like a headhunter. Right? And I've had people say that, hey, I've been eyeing that person for the longest time and I don't know how to do the approach. Can you approach her for me? And I would say, yes, I have all the details about the person. I'm a journalist, so I can do a lot of, investigative work about the person. Yes.
So you can just say like, oh my God, that celebrity like...
This happened recently.
Oh
my
share.
God. Okay.
Spill.
So this gentleman, he's 58. So he has been widowed for more than 10 years. Hey, I'm looking for somebody, who has God in the center of her life, right? Very faith-oriented. And of course, if she's good looking, it doesn't hurt, right? And so, okay, no worries. I'll go into my database. She said, no. I have my eye on this Channel 8 actress.
Damn.
Right. And I'm in the media. So names like these, they don't faze me, right? I can just have a phone call to one of my friends, right? And I'm also in touch with, talent agencies because these are all people who used to work with me, right? So he went straight for the kill and said, no, Channel 8 actress. And I was like, is this infatuation or is this really, trying to get it out of your system?
Yeah.
Because I thought it took you a very long time, to start dating again, right? Why start with somebody that it seems unattainable, but I say if that rocks your world, that's something that I'm able to do. But let's unpack it together. And then he started sharing with me that I've been following her on her social media platforms. She seems to be very faith oriented. She gives a good vibe to me. And she seems to have a vision of what she's looking for in the future, and that's what attracted me to her. So I said, okay, let's give this a shot. So I reached out to her and she was like, firstly, are you, emotionally available to meet? And she said, yes. But she said, I've never been approached by a matchmaker. I said, that's always the first time for everything, right? But we have to make it discreet because he is a very high level entrepreneur, right? Sometimes when she hears that, he's very stable or he's very established, right?
Cannot.
I know flyer I can do.
Yeah, but I think but women are generally looking for safety and security, right?
Yes.
Let's not hide
Hey, me
behind
too.
it. The first meeting I had with the celebrity, and she was immediately smitten by the whole approach, and she said, okay, I'll meet him. So I arranged for them to have a walk, because I don't want it to be a very serious conversation, right? So I said, let's just arrange for a walk at the Botanic Gardens, right? Yeah, and I think it brings down the awkwardness. It gives a little bit more comfort, and you're not facing eye to eye, with each other, and then a lot of things that you need to prepare, right? But walking, I think we can all do walking, right? It doesn't
I've
have
never
to mean
thought
anything.
walking as a first
Yeah,
date.
that's what
Okay.
Botanic Garden is so clever because it is public, but it's somewhat private. It's quite quiet.
There you
And
go.
it's
And we
nice.
arrange
Yeah.
for a 7:30 a.m., 8 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, and after that they can have breakfast, right?
You got it planned already.
That's right. So after that, when I met the guy and I asked, hey, so how do you like her? And she's everything that I'm looking for. And then when I asked this celebrity, she said, he's all right. And then I know there's not much that they have in common. I revisited with this client. I said, okay, now that we have gotten that out of the way, can I do my work?
Let me tell you what you want. I know what you want. Do you think it's that a lot of these like high flyers, people who work for them, people who interact with them daily, don't say to their face these things, and that's why they are like, you're very endearing to them. Is that you just tell them to their face,
Yes, I have that, pass, right? To say, you want to do better, right? Yeah, you want to, you want to get the ladies, right? Or you want to get the men, right?
Been single for how long again?
In a nice way.
In a nice way.
Remind me again, was it 20 years ago or something?
That's the nice way.
Remind me.
Wait, that's the nice way. There was a not nice way.
I'm just joking. No. But it's always very nice to have that pass, right? That whole pass to say, hey, you know what? You can do better, right? I know why it has not happened for you. Are you ready to take responsibility for the behaviors that you have presented, to all these people before, and how we can make some changes, small changes. I'm not asking you to, suddenly become an extrovert if you're an introvert, right? So we make incremental changes, right? And the thing is that they must be prepared to be vulnerable, right? Because a lot of them have their guard up, right? And I said with vulnerability comes trust, right? Because once you're vulnerable and you can trust me, then we can do something about it. But if you're always putting on a show, dog and pony, smoke and mirror, I can't do much, right? Because you're not being authentic.
What does a high-end date look like?
I had a client fly in from Singapore all the way to LA to meet somebody for lunch, right? At the Beverly Hills Wilshire Hotel. That's where you meet all the stars and whatever.
far.
And then, she brought him around town in his stretch limo lah.
Okay.
But she's
She's a
a
guy.
local. She's a
White,
local.
yeah.
She's the LA
LA
chick,
girly.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, they dine at the best Wolfgang Puck restaurant. There's nothing that you wouldn't do for love, right? But I mean that's pretty normal. I hear that a lot.
Okay.
I don't get wowed. And then there are people also who take you on their yacht to their island that they have just bought outside of Singapore. Wow. Yeah, so they have their own island.
As you do.
You do? You have an island?
No. Pulau Tekong is
The regular island.
I mean my weekend island. Every now and then, just
A few
just
years
little
ago,
jaunt.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me tell you about this particular topic. Second date, right? This lady was invited to a safari in Kenya.
Wow.
That's so
Sounds like
fun.
nice safari.
That's so fun. There's a lion involved in this story.
Not night safari. She actually went on a safari
That's wild.
in
That's wild.
Kenya. Okay.
Wow.
So I questioned that arrangement,
Second date,
but I
yeah.
couldn't do anything about it, right? Because she said yes. And so, according to her, he booked 2 villas whatsoever. But in the end, it wasn't one, it was just one villa that was being utilized, lah, right?
Okay.
And they had the most magical experience, safari, and she has never been on a safari. He knows that she has never been on a safari, and that was something that could lure her, right? And after the safari trip, things just went south. And then I had to say my piece. I said, would you like to hear my advice? Or, in future, if this were to happen, because it's so irresistible, right? And there was an irresistible offer. But you see, when you show that, you are falling for things like this very quickly, right? The respect gets eroded very fast as well. Women, you need to up your game and relax and not be swayed by things like this.
Wouldn't these be things that you ask first? Like
Like what?
get everything out of the way. Like, oh wow, you're interesting.
No, actually, yeah. Let's go there. So when you meet a client for the first time, what are you sizing up? Like, what are you asking?
Oh, first, I mean, it's the generic question that makes people want to relax with you, lah. So I don't go straight into what are your kinks in the bedroom,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
No, I don't ask things like that. I think it's improper, it's inappropriate, right? But we talk about the family in general, because how you grow up has a lot to do with how you choose your partner. So a woman who grows up with an absentee father tends to choose men who are also neither here nor there, always ghosting, because that's familiar to her. That's familiar to her emotions, right? And a woman who grows up with a very controlling mother, right, tends to always be a people pleaser.
Interesting.
And so she has the tendency of being an anxious partner, right? Because she wants to please the partner. So these are all dynamics that I want to learn beforehand.
How does it come up when like conversations about like prenups and all that? 'Cause,
Oh,
like,
yeah, I do
at that
get-
level,
yes.
I'm sure it's an ironclad like a document. Right? How does that work
God.
out?
So I do have to ask the gentleman if they have to sign a prenup. And generally they would say yes, because I do have this particular person also. I think he's from Malaysia, but he's based here in Singapore. And so he said, my dad would not allow me to marry if there isn't any prenup.
Right.
Yeah. So I would also have to share that with the ladies, right?
Oh, like early on.
Early on,
sure,
early
for
on.
sure.
Low cash
Full
advice.
disclosure,
Yeah.
right? Full
Right.
disclosure. One of the things that the high net worth individuals fear the most is to see this as a transactional kind of relationship. They don't want that. They want to be seen for who they are. And that's why I always tell them, then you cannot wave your wealth in front of them.
Yeah.
Right? So I have to keep it discreet.
Have you ever set up a very good match that ended up getting ruined by such a transactional like sort of mindset?
I usually set up the first meeting, right? The introduction, and then they take it from there. So generally, when I choose the people, they get into a relationship 4 or 5 months, in, and then the true behavior, start to surface, right? So that's when they make their own discerning decision, lah. It's not necessarily the woman being,
Question.
Question, right? The S11, right? It's sometimes a man. They can be hiding certain tendencies, right? Certain
Kinks and
Fetish.
behaviors. Yeah, certain kinks
Yeah.
also beneath that or underneath that charm.
Okay.
Right? So I'm privy to all those information,
Okay.
but but I said, it's up to you, because when you want to be in a relationship, he must choose you as much as you choose him.
Is it then the case of like, okay, so you've already profiled somebody and then you realize at the back of your mind, whatever you're listening to, I actually have
Yes.
2, 3...
Absolutely,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Because I will always remember my clients. So my staff even, are very amazed by how much I pick up, and I say, oh, this one is definitely okay for this person, right? Because my brain will be cataloging already. Whatever that this person is saying, the person's name would come up to my mind already.
So when you present, let's say you talk to a gentleman and then you like, okay, then do you like, these are the top 3 like Suitable. best, suitable candidates for you, or you just present like one?
Yes, one.
Just one.
Yes, one at a time. I'm presenting high level, high quality, people with a journey, people with, a love story, people with issues from the past, right? And companionship and things like that. So I would share, it's like I'm sharing a story with you, all right? And then that's when I start
pitch of it.
advocating. So, about his character trait and what I noticed, because people invite me to their home too, right? So I know whether he's a messy person or he's an organized person. What are his mannerisms when I come in? Does he offer me a drink? See, it's in the small things.
Yeah.
You will remember the small things, because everybody with money can do the grand gestures. Yeah, they can buy you the biggest bouquet. They can give you the key to their apartment. But if their manners are questionable, I think it's not going to be sustainable. So
Right.
that's my job, to look for things like that. But sometimes people are on their best behavior when they meet me, because they know that I am trying to figure them out or trying to read the room, right? But it always shows, in my interaction.
So historically, like what's the average number of dates it takes for your clients to say, hey, this is the one I found?
We're in a relationship.
It could happen in just one introduction. It has happened before, right? Because there were so many things that were aligned, right? The values, the shared history. If I matchmake people culturally, sometimes, that also makes a lot of sense, right? That North Indian want to be with other North Indian, right? And then they try to make it work somehow, right? Because they want to retain that cultural affinity. But generally, people become more at ease after going out on, 5, 6 dates. And then the 7th or the 8th one, they will find the right one.
And I'm really glad you mentioned Indians because I want to ask whether you've watched Indian Matchmaking on
course,
Netflix and
of
what are your
course.
thoughts about the show?
Simata Paria.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not competing with her.
Okay.
Yeah. So she has her own way of matching people. I think she uses astrology, she uses numerology, she uses all of that, right? I don't do that, right? I'm very secular. Like I said, I go into the emotional journey of the person. What I do is like psychological surgery. I don't do surface level matching, right? I go deep, and that's where I have seen a lot of people improve. So even if they don't meet somebody, they have transformed emotionally. They know who they are, and it gives them that mastery to choose better in the future, right? So I say, the end goal should not just be you being in a relationship. The end goal should be you transforming your life completely and how you view relationship. So I don't do things that she does. I think it's more culturally skewed, but I do have many high net worth individuals who are of South Asian descent. Yeah.
Don't smile at me like that.
No, I said,
No, why you gotta give me
looking to you for the next. If you don't mind sharing, what's the business model and how many iterations did it get to where you are today?
I customize, I tailor make my service, right? So some people just want to meet locally. Right? Yeah. So they're based here, they want to meet locally. And then some people are more international. So they said, okay, the local scene, I have been there, done that. I don't want to be seen with a local partner. I want to go international. Depending on the kind of reach that I have to do for them, right?
Yeah.
Because I have matchmakers alliances all over the world.
Matchmaking friends.
Then you will call somebody in London, or you'll call somebody in New York, or in LA.
Okay.
Just like the last time when there were LA fires, right? And then they lost their home, so they came to Singapore, right? And then my matchmaker friend from LA said, hey, I have this person who's coming to Singapore, can you take care of her? Of course, right? So we have an exchange of clients that way. So to answer your question, there isn't a cookie cutter
I see.
membership fee, right? There is a base fee, but I think everything is self-explanatory on my website. I'm not here to promote it, but it's there. But when they want a higher level service, the white glove service, they call it, right? Yeah, a little bit more exclusive, and then they say, okay, Anisa, can you look worldwide? Because there's no distance that's too far for them, because they have their private jets, they have a very busy schedule, but they can have lunch in Japan, in Tokyo, and dinner in LA.
Me too. I go to the sushi place. I have Western across the road after that. Hey, come on. Paris Bak Kut Teh, as I call it.
In Paya Lebar quarters.
Across the road, you got sushi.
Do you also coach? Say for example,
I
the
do.
first date, and so it's like, okay, maybe you should try this.
Priming. I prime the pump, right? I prime them.
Okay, what
Prime
does
the
that
pump.
look like?
You sit in a van with a earpiece and you're like, okay, don't do that.
No.
It's just like, these are the top 5 topics you should bring up. And
I do. Sometimes I do, right? Because they may be a little bit awkward, right? It's been a long time since they dated. Rather than telling them, you have to discuss A, B, C, D, E. No, I don't. It's always an open-ended question. And then they will always say, oh, I just go with the flow. I say sometimes go with the flow is a good 5 minutes. And then after that, it gets very awkward.
You're overconfident in your ability to hold a conversation.
Yeah, especially the men, right? Especially the men. They always think I know how to figure this out, right? So I just say, I will never stop them from doing anything that they already feel attracted to each other. But I will always tell them, okay, these are the safe topics, right? Or these are conversational topics that would make it interesting, right? That would make you an interesting person. Don't talk about money. Don't talk about possession, because you have them. Why talk about things that you have? Talk about things that you want to do, and things that you have yet to achieve. That makes you a better human.
Because I think these are good takeaways for anybody. You don't have to be a high net worth individual. Anyone who is also mid-level.
Not everybody has common sense.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. No, it's true. It's true. It's not that
common sense is not common.
It's not
right. So I have to bring them back down, ground them, and say this is what is acceptable, right, for conversational topics. Don't be too negative.
Right.
Neither do you want to be with a person who's so opinionated about everything.
Okay, yes.
Why would you say your older clients are still looking for love?
Why shouldn't they? If you have a lot of love to give, you also have a lot of love to receive, right? I think people deserve love at every age. It is society that tells us, you old already, you sure you want to be in a relationship? They're going to give you more problems and headaches than solutions. But I think that's that person's filter rather than anything else, right? So it's how you want to create your life. It's what you feel that you deserve moving forward in your life, even after, you have been divorced or you have lost a partner. I think more so for men, they find it very hard to move forward after they have lost their spouse, right?
Okay.
They are the one who generally feel the bigger loss when they have a death of a spouse, because the spouse tend to do everything for the husband, right? So there's a
Okay, makes
big
sense.
loneliness, big gap, right? The women will be okay, generally.
I also think so.
Yeah, like, husband passed away, it's okay. I've been managing on my own anyway, right? And then I have the children to rally around me. But the man will have a strong sense of loneliness after their partner passed away, right? It's just that they don't know how to express it. You are not cheating on them by going out on a new journey, because sometimes they have that guilt that, I feel I'm cheating on my late wife. I said, she has passed, right? And I feel that your heart is big enough to carve another space for another person to enter your life. I think loneliness is the number one killer for so many people who are, in their golden years, because they don't feel their worth anymore. And that's when they quietly pass into the sunset, right? Yeah. Recently, something happened. We discovered that one of our clients was in an age bracket that, my tech people did not allow to enter. The year of birth, right?
Yeah.
So his year of birth was 1940, if I'm not mistaken. So the tech people, didn't allow him to enter his date of birth. And so he was like,
80.
yes, I want to I want to tell the truth, but I can't enter my year of birth. So we have people, from a very, very wide demographic. Generally, they are, successful, high net worth. They take very good care of themselves, because they still want to, be jet setters. They want to sail the world in their own super yachts, private yachts, whatever it is. So they are very, very health conscious, and they play golf, they are active. And so they feel sometimes that they have, 5, 10, 15 years ahead of them, even though they are 70, 75. And so we have taken away that stigma.
So at 75 and 80, they're still looking for a marriage partner?
No, generally companionship.
Okay.
Generally companionship,
Okay.
right? Because there's too much at stake. But sometimes they change their mind after, being in a very solid relationship. They might just want to walk down the aisle again.
You obviously are very good at reading people. Do you use any tools, any quizzes? There's some personality quizzes that I think a lot of us like to do. We're some experts here at the table as well.
I know.
Alisa has a reputation for asking
Okay, no,
high
Ask me
profile
question, ask me
guests.
question.
No, I always ask
MBTI.
MBTI.
No, I don't do that.
But
But I'm
I
aware of
give
it.
up already.
Yeah. But I have my own modality, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
I call it the emotional healing blueprint.
Wait, very interesting. I wanna-
Emotional healing blueprint.
Blueprint. I developed my own way of assessing people. So if they come in at the highest level, then I offer them this, right? So it starts with me asking them a whole bunch of questions relating to their childhood landscape. How do you grow up? How do you receive love when you were young? So they don't know what I'm actually getting at, right? But I try to understand their childhood landscape. The choices that they have made when it comes to choosing their life partner. All right. And then I said, so what happened in that relationship? Oh, he dismissed me, he disrespected me. Then I said, what role do you play in such outcome, in bringing about such misery? They will always get shocked because they want me to fend for them, right? But I said, okay, what role do you play? So after they have left that relationship, how do you start choosing again? And then they either show me a pattern. Right? That means I've been choosing the same kind of emotionally unavailable partner, right? Somebody who's going to dismiss you, but high ranking, good reputation, right? So you've been going for the wrong attribute.
Okay.
And then once I have understood everything, and then we talk about love language. People writing you a love letter, people do something for you, acts of service, people spending quality time with you. Some people say, oh, yeah, I was in my, in my boyfriend's Aston Martin, and we like to, go JB.
Oh, they drive Aston Martin, go Jimmy.
No, I'm just having a field day. So they like to say things like that, right? So I said, which one do you prefer, the Aston Martin or the quality time?
Quality time in the Aston Martin.
Correct. So it shows an insight into her world as well.
But here's the thing, right? Is that if they're already coming to you for date high flyers international, they already want that level of affluence,
no,
right?
No, not necessarily.
Because
Because they also have it also. Sometimes they have it already. They may already be driving their Maybach or their Maserati or whatever. So they don't necessarily need somebody with an Aston Martin. It's always a bonus, right? So I always have to recalibrate the way they think. It's not about the bright, shiny objects, because at the end of the day, yes, you feel proud in that Aston Martin, but you're also crying, right? All by yourself because
Crying
he's
in
out.
the Aston Martin.
Yeah, that's
Better than crying on bus 61 on the way home.
Also true.
Yeah, I want to cry in the leather seat.
Which one do you prefer, the Aston Martin or bus 61? Right? Yeah. The men want to feel that the women can respect them, not for their wealth, right, but for who they are. They must have somebody who's not only good looking, but somebody who's bright and who wouldn't, embarrass them if they are being being brought to a black tie event because they want the ladies to also be able to be, an enhancement to their reputation, right?
Can chemistry be developed, or does it have to be, it's either there or not?
A lot of my clients say it's either there or not,
Yeah.
right? But I think we are putting too much attention on chemistry rather than compatibility. Chemistry will fizzle because it's like fireworks, right? You watch fireworks, NDP. It's so nice. Wow, right? Oh, I love it. Wow, take picture, live. Oh, I'm here. After that, what happened? It just fizzles.
Right.
That's chemistry, right? Compatibility is like putting the bricks, brick by brick to build your foundation, right? And your the family or the relationship that you want. It may be a slow burn, but it's steady. You see people putting in effort, you put in effort. You see people, sacrificing for you, you sacrifice for them, right? It's about mutual respect, mutual reciprocity. But a lot of people don't want that. They want to fast track everything because we are living in a very fast world, right? But you can't fast track a relationship. Generally, people get into a relationship because they feel so much about this person. Oh, I can't live without him. I can't live without her. Those are very short term, very short lived, right? But because love is not a feeling, love is an action, love is a commitment, love is something that will stand the test of time. It's not something that you enjoy when it's the good times, then you don't know how to do the bad times, right? That's not
Right.
love. Love is everything in between as well. So yeah, people talk about chemistry a lot, and also my clients. Oh, Anisa, I'm not feeling her. I'm not feeling him. I can't see myself with him because he is a couple of inches shorter than the kind of guy that I used to date. And I said it's more of your insecurity rather than what this gentleman brings to you. Some men would always think, oh, because I'm not 6 foot or so, women will not look at me. I said, no such thing, right? But you are trying to make the relationship work based on very superficial, surface level stuff. Right? So it's never that. It's how this person shows up, the emotions, the safety, the consideration that he, thinks about you or you think about him, right? What are the repercussions of my action? Will it make him feel, that he is neglected, and if somebody does something to you, will that make her feel loved? So these are considerations that people need to learn to pay attention on rather than just chemistry. Men would worry about their wealth, women would worry about their looks. So we have to ensure that, okay, those fears are addressed. And then when I start choosing people for them, I ensure that the people are meeting them at the level that they want. But more so, I think I'm always looking out for people who give the other person emotional safety. And that's what we are not taught at home. Right, emotional safety, right? To value a person, to make them feel seen and heard, that their values matter, right? And sometimes women just clam up because they don't feel that what they say matter, right? Or even when they are mistreated, they don't know how to express themselves, and that's what I would teach them.
Between men and women, which gender is more difficult to find like a partner for?
I don't see gender as the reason for the difficulty, right? Yeah, I think it's the conditioning of the person. So some who are very charming, who are very successful, they are also, tendency is they have narcissistic behavior as well. Right? I get what I want all the time, regardless, right? And everybody else doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. I'm the successful one. I'm the one who brings home the bacon, for instance, right? So those are unsafe behaviors that I could also pick when I ask questions and I feel that somebody is very overbearing, or I tell you what to do because I'm paying you, then I said, you can keep your money.
Some things are worth a bit more than the invoice.
Did you ever have to make over a client, like send them for styling?
Oh, you need help, honey. And then,
Don't wear slippers.
Yeah. So she came to me, okay, Yale graduate, right? Yeah, very smart. And then and then she said, the one thing that I don't know how to do is make my makeup, go for a makeup. And I said, okay, don't worry. We can send you for, refer you to somebody who can do a makeover for you, right? But of course, before the date, we have already exchanged photos with the gentleman. It's a profile, right? So the man loved the fact that she was very highly educated and He's not looking for a grand gesture or somebody who is so tai or that kind of sophisticated women, right? Because he chose her for her intellect. And then she came for the date with a coif, is it? She put her hair up.
Okay.
She was wearing everything Chanel, from top to
Wow.
bottom. And the guy didn't recognize her. I was looking for a grounded girl next door, and she was so awkward, because she thought that she had to present herself with all these labels and grand display of wealth or whatever.
She wasn't being herself. The Ellison money hands.
Yeah. And so he was like, I don't know what to talk to her about.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
dear.
Because he chose her for her simplicity, for her, for her intellect. So I didn't expect her to go for the entire makeover.
Right.
Right? And so she was misled into buying things that she wasn't ready for. And the gentleman didn't like it because it was not an authentic expression of who she is.
Wow.
Okay. So it still be yourself. Maybe just be your best self.
Yes, that's right. Be the best version of yourself, right? Don't be too lackadaisical. Don't be too relaxed, lepak, kind of behavior, right? You still have to be on your toes a little bit
Get
because
a haircut, dress well.
yes, that's right. Because you're putting in effort. I think we appreciate effort. When people put in the effort, we also want to do the same thing, right? It's all about reciprocity. Don't go overboard. No need to go extreme makeover, right? Don't be the biggest loser. Just be comfortable with who you are. Be comfortable in your own skin, but yet at the same time have character. Not the kind who make people squirm, but relax and observe. I think a lot of it has got to do with observing rather than sharing too much information, verbal vomit. Don't do that. Don't do that because after that,
Pontificate.
people will just lose interest after a while.
And so when they discuss with you their preferences, their likes, their dislikes, do they also share, and are there any interesting ones that these high net worth individuals are sharing? Deal breakers. Do they have anything special? Because we have ours.
Body count.
Oh, it matters? Okay.
Yeah, they don't like, right? Because generally, if they're very high level individuals, they would have been in a long-term relationship. They're not the playboys or the Casanovas, yeah? Because they are the top tier people who have to take care of their public reputation, right? As much as their private lives, right? So they're very particular about women who have been out and about. We would have to ask very gentle questions to understand, the person's personal history. That's why I thank God that my journalism background helped me a lot because I have a way of asking questions that is not so imposing, but you decipher a lot of information from what they share with you.
So how do you extract something like body count? Because you can't.
I'm telling you my secret.
Are you for the streets?
Are you worried about your body count?
Not at all.
Has there been anybody, right, who has come to you and you notice like, wow, all these like don't have manners, don't have anything, and then like
You reject them.
you reject.
Yeah, you walk
Okay,
away.
so generally everybody can give us a good first impression, and sometimes we're also taken in by somebody's charm, the way they speak, especially if they have an accent, right?
yes.
Yeah,
Is that a
they may look Asian, but they have Australian
British.
accent,
Oh.
British accent, right? So
Hey.
women fall for things like that sometimes, right? So
guys
okay,
too.
so we give them the benefit of the doubt, right? And then we send them out, and then we get feedback from the women, right? How they treat the women when they're out and about, right? And so when it comes to the end of the membership, right, because they sign for a certain tenure, a certain length of time, we get to decide whether we want to renew them or not.
Oh, yeah, love
Yeah,
that.
that was my second question.
yeah.
Like, at which point do you consider
Bye-bye.
your job complete?
Yes,
yeah.
that's right. Because if they treat the women poorly, right? If they disrespect the women, if they talk down on the women, right? I have to advocate for my women too, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're high net worth. You can treat people the way you want to,
Exactly.
right? I have to protect my women. So when they come to me, it's not just a matchmaking service that I offer. I also offer relationship coaching, right? And that's when they learn about self-worth, self-esteem, self-concept. What do you believe to be true about yourself? Everybody thinks it's always, fixing your looks or fixing your face will solve a lot of things. But no, you get picked, for that moment, and then it's transient. They will move to the next one. If you don't have anything in between here, nothing here, I think the men would agree with me, right?
Yeah.
You don't
At
have
least
the
one
heart. Don't set the bar so low. Must have it all, Yeah, you need to balance, right? So I will teach them the way that you're being treated, the way that you're being spoken to are all important indicators of how they will treat you in the future. All right? If at the courtship phase they're already not treating you well, just imagine if you're married to them, right? So money doesn't solve problems, and money doesn't make you classy.
And do you notice like this, especially between new money client?
Okay. Old money whispers. New money shouts. I knew it. Everything branded about them, right? Yeah, what they carry. I've had very disrespectful people who even threw their credit cards to me, right? I think it was documented quite some time ago. This 29-year-old lady who came to me and said, I'm a banker. I make $250,000, right? And I live in...
Only.
There you go. In my head, it was like, I'm dealing with... Yeah. True. Depends on where you're at.
But
also,
like in terms of a usual clientele, that's like...
Exactly.
Yeah. So she says, I live in Tanjong Rhu or whatever district, whatever, and I want to meet men who are in district 10, 9, 10, 11. And then the story goes, I did say this, right? I said, I'm sorry, did you come here thinking that I was Singpost? She actually literally threw her credit card on the table that fell on the floor, right? And I thought, oh my God, that's the last person that I want to have in my database, right? I think with your credit card, please go ahead and find other avenues, right? But you're not going to be part of my clientele, right? And so I told her nicely, please pick up your card. I think this interview is over.
So much of the job sounds like telling hard truths, but in a way that's still
Nice
strokes their
way.
ego.
In a feminine way.
Yeah.
In a feminine energy.
What drew you to matchmaking, to this world of matchmaking?
I started off as a journalist, right? That was the first career that I had. And then I became a broadcast journalist. I became a mother, but I was reading the early morning news. I had to be at work by 3 a.m. in the morning, leaving my premature child at home. And also there was that tussle. Should I be a mother first, or is this career important for me? But it was an easy decision for me to just leave the glitz and the glamour. And I left without a job at that point of time. It was a natural progression for a lot of people when they leave the broadcasting world or journalism. They become comm, communications, PR. But those jobs don't excite me at all. Yeah, but I knew I had people skills, right? I've always enjoyed being with people. I knew that I have very good interviewing skills.
Okay.
Yeah. And I like to draw people out from my interviews. So that's when the transition became so easy into matchmaking, because matchmaking requires you to be genuine with people, to really understand the story that they come with, and then what can you do with the information that you have. And I'm generally a positive, optimistic person. So I know that when people go through difficulties in marriages, in relationship, they're very despondent, very down and out, right? So if I can raise their spirit, right? Tell them, hey, there's so many people out there, you just haven't met them yet.
How do you not go, okay, HR is my
I was
next
thinking
journey?
HR.
Yeah. Why is it, how do you go to matchmaking? It's such a
No,
niche.
I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
okay,
it's not
okay.
working for people.
I read a CNA article, right? Then you said your mother, when she used to matchmake people at weddings, she'll just go up to people and ask them hey, you single, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Is that why you went into matchmaking? She kind of inspired you maybe?
It didn't occur to me until I've become a full-fledged matchmaker. Then I realized, that, yes, she used to do this when I was young, right? Yeah, she was so nosy. I knew she was always fighting for the underprivileged, the misfit, and the people who, people will just ignore. That's where I've downloaded my people skill as well, because I see she fights for the underdogs, right? And so she has that skill of talking to people and trying to match them. And then she also matched my cousins. And then, after a while, that marriage unraveled. And I also saw them coming to her and blaming her for the unraveling of the marriage. So, and then she didn't know how to respond, right? And then she'll say, I'll find you another one then, right? That kind of thing. But I've seen the extremes of being a matchmaker, right? People getting very happy because you've matched them, and then people get very sore with you because their marriage didn't work out. But I told her last time, right? Mom, you match people out of the goodness of your heart. I get paid. Yeah, but also out of the goodness of my heart too.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's the main one. That's the main one.
yeah. She was just really purely goodness of her heart, right? Bless her. She has passed away, But I have, the matchmaking blood in me.
You sound like there's a lot of work goes into
Oh
each
my
client,
God.
right? Like, how big is your team? How big are the people you work with?
There's 5 of us.
Ah,
That's why I say I don't go wide, I go
Yeah,
deep.
okay.
Right? And
Quality.
for high net worth individuals, they always want to go deep. They don't want wide, right? They can meet anybody that they want, but they choose value, they
Right.
choose character, they choose caliber, right? And so that's my job, to make sure that the person I present to them, has a certain character trait that they would appreciate, that they would find valuable in that partnership.
So in the same way, like one of your staff, if it's a male matchmaker, then they hear it from them.
Men cannot be matchmakers.
okay.
Your
Hot
team
take.
are all females.
Yes, that's right. Men cannot be matchmakers.
Have you tried and realized? Or
Yes. Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong. They are generally raised to be stoic. Don't show that you're crying. Don't show your weakness.
Act like a boy.
Act like a boy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And sometimes the women will weaponize that as well, right? When the man wants to be vulnerable, you are not supposed to be weak. You're supposed to stand up for me. But then I said, but we are all human. We all have emotions, right? It's just that the men are not really in touch with the depth of their emotion because they've been told to remain stoic and don't express anything. Whereas the women are writing 12-page letter. You watch Friends, right? I know Rachel was writing 6-page front and back.
You fell asleep.
You fell asleep.
You've talked about like curating or like creating tailor-made advice to a lot of your clients. But for the takeaway for our viewers out there who have maybe been single for a while, are there any universal things that actually are very helpful?
I always say before you want to start looking for a partner, right? Ask yourself whether you love yourself enough, right? Your self-love is always going to be key.
Okay.
What do I mean by that? Is how you talk to yourself, right? Are you critical of yourself, right? Are you comparing yourself with another person? It's what's going on in your internal world, right? What you're feeding yourself. Are you keeping good friends who are uplifting you rather than putting you down? And if they decide not to invite you to their party, are you going to be okay? Are you going to be, doing things to seek their validation, right? So self-love is always key before you can find a partner, right? How do you know what love is until you give it to yourself? Right? Otherwise, you'll be settling for breadcrumbs, right? People show you attention suddenly, oh, I'm in love. No, because you have already given yourself that. So if the person were to enter your life, he or she must give you more.
Wow.
Right? So that's what I would emphasize. And most importantly, the skill that every couple must have. Ready?
Yes.
Is the ability to repair after a conflict.
Wow.
How do you reach out to your partner and say, I'm sorry, I want to take full responsibility. I shouldn't have shouted. I shouldn't have whatever, right? So the repair process is the one that makes the relationship sustainable because a lot of people don't know how to repair. Their ego gets the better of them, right? And that's when the relationship just breaks apart.
In the context of Singapore, right? What's the coolest date you've seen? Not too much over the top. What's just good? What's good?
You're really trying to push for this.
No. Just questions that are being given to me by a friend.
What's the coolest? It's never the serious sit down, face to face kind of date. Yeah. So I've had people who go on a cycling trip together. They rent a bike and then they just go on the PCN and then stop at certain because I've found out that they enjoy this activity, right? So
Yeah.
I want it to be relaxed. I don't want it to be too high strung. Meet at this place and then you can borrow a bike and then cycle together to MBS or something like that. Yeah, and then stop and have coffee and have your breakfast. So I think that's cool kind of date ideas.
Plus, they
It is
don't have to
quite
talk.
cool.
They don't have to talk so much.
They do.
Like
There's
they-
they will talk about the journey.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
guess what? When you're doing an activity together, you also get to see the other side of this person. Right? So let's say, the chain comes out or, the bicycle breaks down or something like that. You get to observe.
A crisis, right? You see how
Yeah.
But there's also like conversation topics that will come out because you will
Yes.
pass by something and be like, oh my god, like this happened.
Lunch date is always very advisable because it is short. There is a timeline. You go in and out very quickly. First date should not be very long drawn. I had one client recently and I'm so upset. He went for a 9-hour date.
No.
On a
for a work
first
day.
No, but that means good.
Not on a first date because you have to leave something for the next one. You don't want to be telling your whole life story on one date. And after that, I said, are you meeting her again? The answer is no. I've shared everything already.
Yeah, lah.
And she told me everything already about her. So why do I need to know anything more?
Got to keep something in the bag.
Right? Yeah, so you have to.
I always thought like on the first date, right?
Yeah.
You should share your life.
No.
like that.
Would you rather watch a trilogy or a 9-hour movie?
I don't know, cause like based on my friends, right? Every time they say like the first date, right? They talk for like
Hours.
hours, like
so
until the sun.
connected.
Yeah. And then I'll be like, wow.
And then,
Good what?
That's what I thought.
so the feminine energy is supposed to stay still. You're not supposed to be chasing anybody. You're not supposed to be overextending yourself, overreaching yourself, exposing everything about yourself because there's always that safety concern. This is
Right.
the curated one because I'm in charge, right? Yeah, I don't want to let people know where to pick up the lady, whatever, because I don't want people to make poor judgment after that, right?
Yeah.
There have been so many occasions where people come back to me and say, oh, we went for dinner. After that, he invited me to his home to show me his records and stuff like that. And then after that, they get drunk, right? And then I said, how is that my business right now? Because I specifically told you, right? It's supposed to be a safe environment. My job is to protect you as a woman, right? You do not go back to somebody's home on a first date. Do not.
Okay.
Never.
Never.
For your safety. Women, safety first.
No.
Safety first. Men, don't get too excited, right? Because
Calm
there's
the down.
calm down.
That's your anger
That's right.
translator.
That's right. Relax, because if she's meant for you, she's never gonna, disappear from your life. And if you are meant for her, there's so many things to develop from there. So I value the time that people take in getting to know each other. Don't rush things, because that means you have something to prove, or you have an agenda that is not consistent with your agenda. I think men need to observe a little bit more, right? Because it doesn't mean a pretty face, everything else falls into place, right? Like I said, love is not necessarily the domain of the successful people. They are also struggling with love, right? So men, observe more, see whether it's consistent, see whether it's aligned with your values, and then develop that relationship, right? Women, no need to do anything. Relax. Chill.
Everybody just
Chill a little bit. All right, Cheryl, I don't have my watch. What time is it?
It's time for painting of the episode.
And today we have...
Joanne Ngo painted this. So Joanne has cerebral palsy, and this painting is called Waves and Grids.
I really like the dynamic that's going on here. There's waves, there's grids, waves and grids. I love the color. The yellow really pops for me.
Yeah, it's all primary colors, the red, the yellow, and the blue. But what is so nice about this is the contrast between the grids, which is so structured, and then the fluidity of the Japanese-inspired waves.
Where can I see more of these?
So if you want to check out more of these artworks, head on down to
The link in the description below. And check out Shaping Hearts at our Tampines Hub, 13 to 28 September.
10 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Roses are red, violets are blue. We have an arranged marriage waiting for you. I want to say thank you so much, Anisa, for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. See you on the
Thank
next
you for
one.
having me
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
so much.
Do you believe that everybody, all of us, there's a soulmate out there?
Yes, absolutely. More than one. More than
Oh.
one. You are surrendering to this concept there's only one out there. I think there's many, right? So we must be very astute at reading people and observing behavior. So that's why you have to go deeper. In order for you to find that soulmate, you have to be the one doing all the work yourself. You have to be the right partner first, right? And then the right one will appear. And it's about you choosing one, and then how you're going to make it work through also this concept or this skill of a relationship repair, right? Because it's not, it's not like clothes, you can wear and then you can toss it away, because we are people, we have aspirations, we have feelings, we have emotions, we have fears. As much as you think that you are the best thing that, best thing since sliced bread, for instance, the women also would think that way, right? But the easy part is, doing all the fun stuff, the going on the trips, going on adventures, buying the house, buying the car. But the hard one is when you disagree. How do you repair that? Or do you become nasty? Do you
Right.
become disrespectful? Do you become cold, right? And you toss people away like as though they don't have any value, right? So you have many soulmates out there. Some are even friends sometimes, right? You just didn't want to open up that possibility that he or she could be a possible partner for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Why? Multiple times they just keep giving me this look. They just keep giving me this look.
Elephants, ma.
What?